3 cups of coffee and it's all good to confidence. So, okay, here we go. My TED Talk is on a subject that I know that you are all really excited to hear about. Never heard about it before. The environment. As you all probably know, we've made quite a mess of it. Ice caps are melting, the earth is heating up, animals, beloved panda, are facing extinction. Our only planet is nearing its end. In fact, the situation has gotten so bad that when the prospect of the environment is brought up, glass half-empty kinds of people will respond with either, the environment, is that even a thing anymore? Or simply, we are all doomed. Even the most optimistic of us will probably politely ask how the moon colony is coming along. Not that well, by the way, it's probably a few more centuries to go. But the question is, why have we failed so spectacularly at actually taking our share and keeping our planet in working order? The answer is something most of you probably aren't expecting. We don't want to. Let me explain. A large part of the problem is in our public service announcements. You know, the ones that bombard us every day, screaming at us to do things like recycle, take shorter showers, and turn off lights when we aren't using them. But since we see these so often, they kind of lose their power. We don't pay attention to what the recycling sign actually means when it is plastered on half our products and on billboards and blue bins alike. More familiar PSAs are the shocking facts that are constantly being revealed to us, like how there are 7.2 billion people in the world, 1/3 of all food is lost or wasted, and the U.S. alone throws out 1,500 million cans a second. That is from multiple sources. I didn't believe it either. But this strategy backfires. Next time we find ourselves with an empty Coke can in hand and with a garbage can 10 feet away and a recycling bin 20 feet away, we think, well, we throw out 1.5 thousand of these cans a second. What does it really matter if I throw out one more? And therefore, we don't help do our part because our conscience tells us that we don't need or even really want to. But the question remains, what in the world has caused our inner voices to become so horrible? The answer? Society, television, advertising, each other. We've been taught to value the physical side of things, to be materialistic and make the immediate world around us as what really matters. Therefore, we don't help do our part. If taking a long shower will make us happy, for example, then we will take one. The few extra gallons of water we use are nothing in the grand scheme of things. And therefore, we keep using more and more because our moral codes tell us that we can. However, we already have a solution to this. There's a solution that puts the well-being of the entire planet first and ranks ourselves as one of 7.2 billion people. There's a solution that will save both the environment and our moral well-being, which I know is everybody's top priority. Utilitarianism. Admittedly, it sounds like a horrible medical condition than anything that could conceivably help us. But utilitarianism is actually a philosophy, and a fairly brilliant one at that. It is based upon the belief that what is morally right, and therefore what we should do, is what brings the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest amount of people. Jeremy Bentham, born in the United Kingdom in 1748, is considered the father of modern utilitarianism. He came up with the idea that the amount of pleasure over pain, also known as happiness, I'll be using the two synonymously, that the amount of pleasure over pain is quantitative. In other words, it doesn't matter what the quality of happiness is, only how much of it there is. For a modern day example, happiness derived from using social networking sites is just as valuable as happiness derived from playing the violin, unbelievably. As long as there's the same amount of happiness generated, it doesn't matter what kind of happiness is generated. Bentham also comes up with a list of 7 criteria that we can use to establish how much pleasure or pain an action generates. These criteria include intensity, how strong the feeling of pleasure is, extent, how many people are affected by it, and something called fecundity, or the action's ability to produce still further pleasures. However, Bentham knows enough about society to realize that we don't have time to rate every single action we take based on 7 criteria, especially since it involves remembering what a word like fecundity means. It took me 20 times to get this right. I still am shaking. Bentham also comes up with a list of steps that we can use to determine morally right actions. He likes numbers. In this case, it's 4, it was 7, I don't know what's up with that. So, for example, say you're watching TV or using Facebook or whatever, when a public service announcement comes on, saying that we use 3 to 4 gallons of water every minute while in the shower. So if we shorten our showers from 10 minutes a day to 2 minutes a day, you would save 24 to 32 gallons of water a day. So, being a conscientious utilitarian, you decide to use Bentham's plan to determine what you should do. The first step, he says, is to determine the various courses of action that are open to you. In this case, you could take 2-minute showers, or you could take 10-minute ones. The second step is to count all the pleasure. That's the third step. Screw it up here. The second step is to count the number of people that will be affected by this action, counting yourself as only one person. Since we're talking about water, and clearly we all share the same water sources, everyone on Earth is affected, especially people in water-poor countries such as India and Kenya. Keep in mind, you only count as what you are. One person living in a water-rich country, America. The third step, it's actually the third step, the third step is to count all the pleasures and pains that each action will produce. If you take 2-minute showers, the 24 to 32 gallons of water you save can go towards making all those people in water-poor countries a lot happier, at the expense of one person in America's temporary warmth. And I do mean temporary, because as soon as you get out of the shower, you're freezing. Happens to me, everyone. However, if you take 10-minute showers, that one person in America will be happier, but all those other people in water-poor countries will have just had their chances of getting water decreased. The fourth step is to choose the action that results in the greatest balance of pleasure over pain. In this case, we can use common sense. Clearly, we should take 2-minute showers, since they produce a large amount of happiness for a large amount of people at the expense of one person's warmth. And suddenly, you have done the impossible, made a decision that actually helps the environment. And now imagine if you apply this thinking to all of your important decisions, such as whether or not you should invest in a power-efficient heating system, or if you should buy a gas versus electric car, or if you should decide to compost all of your excess food scraps. Miraculously, the decisions that you make are exactly the same as the ones that public service announcements have been telling us over and over again. Now picture this on a global scale. Waste production has plummeted, population growth has slowed down, and pollution levels have dropped as well. The Earth has become that golden word that all environmentalists love, sustainable. The world, as it is safe. Now, it is very unrealistic to assume that everyone will immediately replace their moral philosophy with utilitarianism. But it is not so unrealistic once large areas of people are doing it. And those people could be inspired by someplace very small. And that place could very well be right here in Lake Forest. Now, I'm not demanding of you to become utilitarian. I'm only asking of you to entertain the thought. Because nothing can be started without people willing to follow it. And if we all decide to follow utilitarianism, even to a certain extent, the world's environmental problems will, finally, be solved. So I ask of you, try to see the world through the eyes of a utilitarian, even if only for a short time. Watch how your actions change, and you will eventually realize the key to changing how we act is in changing how we think. And the key to saving the environment is to save our own morality. Thank you.